So some news out of Montreal, and I absolutely love this. Yoel Armia signs a 4-year extension with the Habs worth $3.4 million per season, the same cap hit as veteran winger Paul Byron. This is very well deserved. I absolutely love Yoel Armia as a player. He's such a valuable piece to this team. Not only is he so strong defensively on the PK, but he has that offensive flair as well. Not only that, he's a right-handed shot on the right side of the ice on right wing, 6'3", 212 pounds, and he just does such a great job winning his battles along the boards, retrieving pucks, and just strong hockey IQ all around. I love seeing that he has a loyalty towards Montreal. He could have walked into free agency and signed with whoever he wanted, but he chose to stay with the Habs. I also have to point out that we acquired this player, a very, very valuable piece to a hockey team, a few years back from the Winnipeg Jets. He's a former first-round pick, and we got him just for simply buying out a couple years' worth of Steve Mason's contract. Just stellar work by Marc Bergevin. You know, getting such a valuable piece for a very low price, and then seeing the impact that he's had on our team since. You know, I know Corey Perry and Eric Stahl got a lot of the credit in the playoffs for that fourth line, just because of the impact of the names that they have. These are Hall of Famers. But Yoel Armia was the key to that line. He led that line in takeaways, points. He was a beast for us. And I'm very happy to see him signed with Montreal and sticking around long term. He's got underrated offensive skills as well. He's got a very hard shot. You know, we see him have multi-point games. He did it in the playoffs, and he's done it numerous times through the regular season, and then kind of disappear here and there. I'm hoping this is a player that can maybe have a next level through the prime of his career, 28 to 32, where he'll be locked up for 4 years. I think Dom Ducharme sees that in him. Now, mind you, even if he is what he is at this age, we've got a great player on our hands for the foreseeable future here. And Montreal's depth at right wing is disgusting. Easily the best in the Atlantic Division. Maybe the best right wing depth in the league when you factor in Cole Caulfield in there as well. Think about it. We got Brendan Gallagher, Josh Anderson, Cole Caulfield, and Yoel Armia. That's intense depth on the right wing. And not only that, Tyler Toffoli's typically a right wing as well. These are all right-handed shots. Montreal is set on the right side of the ice, and that's a very important piece of a team, and it's hard to get guys like that. So I love that the Canadiens value that position, those right-handed shots, and the ability to score goals from that side of the ice. Now, mind you, with Thomas Tatar leaving, that leaves an open area on the other side of the ice. We need some left-handed shooters to offset the strength of the right-handed shooters now. Not too long ago, a few years in the past, Montreal was overloaded with left-handed shots, and they didn't have many righties. Now it's the other way around. We need goaltenders and defensemen to know of the opposition that not all of our shots are going to be coming from right-handed shooters. We need a left-handed sniper. Could that be Mike Hoffman? Free agency starting here tomorrow. I'm filming this Tuesday night. Wednesday, we got free agency. Mike Hoffman is available. He doesn't do, a lot of good things other than shoot the puck and put it in the back of the net, but he does that very well. And especially with Tatar going out the door, we don't have that, we don't have that offensive flair on that side of the ice now, other than Jonathan Drouin, who will likely be returning to the Habs come the 2021-2022 season. So Hoffman, of course, a name out there we could be looking at. But who else could the Habs be looking at? There's plenty of rumors. First, I'm going to go over some of the rumors that apparently are close to confirmed, who the Habs may have already locked up. First, we have Chris Weidman coming over to the KHL, apparently to sign a deal with the Montreal Canadiens. I'll go more in-depth on this player once it's official, because we don't know for sure yet. But he is a small right-handed defenseman. I'd say likely more a depth guy, bottom pair, but he has some offensive flair to his game. He's 31 years old, and he had a really impressive offensive season in the KHL. This is not Dennis Weidman, the defenseman who pushed the ref a few years back. This is Chris Weidman, the guy who was involved in that taxi scandal there for the Ottawa Senators a couple years back with Duchesne, where they absolutely trashed their coaches, and he kind of, he disappeared to the KHL for a year. Well, now back to the NHL, and apparently that's with the Habs. That's a good ad for us, I think, especially because he's a right-handed guy who can put up offense. So we'll have to see if that's official. We'll know tomorrow, but apparently it's just about confirmed. I like this ad for the depth of the Habs. I believe it's a 1-year, $1 million deal one way, so he will be an NHL player next year, likely using the Montreal market to advertise himself to remain in the NHL for the foreseeable future. Then, apparently, David Savard, another right-handed defenseman, is going to sign with the Montreal Canadiens, Stanley Cup champion with the Tampa Bay Lightning, the most recent cup, his first coming from Columbus at the trade deadline. This is a very strong shutdown defenseman. He very well will replace the defensive minutes that Shea Weber will be leaving behind. And I like the signing. He plays with some grit. He can lay the body. He's a big man on defense. You'll got to think he'll slide in to the top four, maybe pair up with Ben Sherrod and allow Ben to maybe explore his offensive and puck moving game a little bit more, which we've kind of seen over the years here and there with him paired up with Shea Weber. But I like the signing. I would have preferred more of a two-way guy than just a shutdown guy to replace Weber. But there's more to be done. We'll have to see how this plays out. Now, not only that, apparently the Habs are big on Cedric Paquette and maybe signing him as well. These are reports coming from George Larocque. And Cedric Paquette is a shutdown center, physical, another guy, plays with attitude, plays with grit, he can lay the body. So you got to think he would slot in on the third or fourth line center position if he indeed does sign with us. He as well coming from Tampa Bay. So there's another guy, and that would almost mean that going forward, if we do lose Phil Deneau, and I'll get into that, if we lose Phil Deneau, Cedric Paquette being a third or fourth, that would mean KK and Suzuki going forward are number one and number two centers. Nick Suzuki up there, I definitely think he's ready to be a number one center in the NHL despite his age, especially now where he's been through a playoff run. That's a big part of really seeing the true ability of a player, and Nick Suzuki passed with flying colors. So you got to expect he'll be getting big minutes down the middle for us next season, and I think he'll thrive with those minutes as well. And Kotkaniemi, he's been a project. He had glimpses of what he can do in the playoffs and his first 3 seasons with the Montreal Canadiens. But again, he just went through a long playoff run, and, defensively, he was very strong. It's the offensive game we need to get going in Kotkaniemi, and he also just needs to bulk up. He's done a good job of that so far early in his NHL career, but we need to continue seeing this kid add some muscle so he can win his battles, not get knocked off his skates too easily, and over time, that offensive game could show. I'm really hoping for a breakout season next year for KK, and if he's given the big minutes, hopefully he takes that opportunity in stride and just absolutely kills it. Phil Deneau, rumor has it now, again, George Larocque, Phil may be reuniting with former teammate Max Pacioretty in Vegas and signing a deal with them. I just find it so weird that a hometown guy, a Quebecois player, would leave the Habs like this. I don't know if it's, because the Habs aren't as interested as he'd like them to be, or he's just trying to cash in at this point in his career, and I guess you can't blame him. But, this will be a big loss for Montreal down the middle, especially defensively. But offensively, it's not staggering to replace. I mean, Deneau's been putting up 55 or so point seasons, and he's kind of plateaued at that. I think Montreal's looking for a little bit more offensive output in their top 6, and hopefully KK can get there and above. I'm sure Suzuki will, over the next few years, be putting up massive numbers for us, as well as that two-way game from him. And honestly, I think the two-way game from Suzuki is going to make the loss of Deneau, if he truly is leaving, I think it would make the loss of Deneau easier to swallow. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll find out all this stuff officially tomorrow. But you know what? I think Suzuki and KK, playing with Phil the last few years, will definitely realize, the hole that is being left behind, and will do their best to fill it. They know and respect how good Phil is. He's been their mentor these first couple seasons for them in the NHL. So maybe some growing pains, but at some point you got to let the birds, the baby birds fly, and I think it's their time, especially because I've mentioned it a couple times now. They've been through that playoff run, so take some time off in the offseason to heal up and get back to the grind for them. Anyway, that's enough of that. Some more rumors here surrounding the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, there's the Jack Eichel stuff. Me personally, I don't know if I really want to take a risk on a player like that who's has a serious injury, is looking to have an experimental surgery. There's been rumors that he has character issues or it's hard to get along with him. I don't know. What you can't take away from Jack Eichel, though, is he is easily a top 10 talent in the league, maybe even potentially top 5 in the league in terms of talent and his offensive output, and he's strong defensively. So I can see why the Habs would be interested, but I have a feeling this is just Mark Bergevin just kind of circling, making sure he does his due diligence, knowing, he's not passing up on a deal for a seriously elite talent. But to acquire a guy like that, you would need to give up Suzuki or Caulfield, and I'm not so sure I'd want to do that. These two young players who are cost-controlled assets, whereas Jack Eichel has a massive contract. So kind of risky, similar to where Seattle would be taking a risk taking on the contract to Carey Price, albeit Jack Eichel's very, a lot younger, but, I don't know. It's just not for me. I'd prefer to build through the draft, see our young players develop, get stronger under our franchise, the one they are drafted under. To give up a massive package, if we were able to keep Suzuki and Caulfield, you'd still be giving up KK, Romanov, first-round picks, another, blue chip prospect, and I would rather just let these guys develop within our roster and see what they can become than take that risk. That's just me. But not only that, there's also rumors that Ryan Getzlaff may be possible to come to Montreal, and that would, ease the load on Suzuki, KK, and Jake Evans as well. I mean, if we don't get a guy like Getzlaff or another strong center, it'll be through committee this year, and luckily we have a lot of young guys who can get the job done. I'm very impressed with Jake Evans, but getting Ryan Getzlaff in, and if we get to keep Corey Perry, oh my God, that would be a dream come true for me. I've loved Corey Perry for so long, but Ryan Getzlaff has been one of my favorite centers for years. His passing vision and his edge work, his gliding, the way he can enter the zone is just so smooth. He's one of these players that just they're not going to lose that hockey IQ. The body may start to fail them. Getzlaff is 36. But he can still play. He can still put up strong numbers. He can still play heavy physical minutes down the middle, win big draws. He's a right-handed shot. Those are very valuable down the middle of the ice. We have one in Jake Evans already. Adding Getzlaff would be perfect. Not only that, the leadership that he would bring this team. Captain of the Ducks, the last many years. And he's just such a strong leader. And he'd be the perfect mentor for a guy like Jesperi Kotkaniemi. I compare Kotkaniemi to Ryan Getzlaff quite often, just the way that they're, I think KK will have a very similar physique and body type to Getzlaff, and I think a very similar play style as well. Pass first guy, but still has an underutilized and very, valuable shot when they get time and space, but just the shiftiness, and I think Getzlaff could really do wonders for KK, showing him how to, really use his edges, lower center of gravity, and just, stay on your skates while still being able to maneuver into the offensive zone and then just slide a tape-to-tape pass on an elite level. I see a lot of similarities between KK and Getzlaff, a lot. So to have Getzlaff in our system, playing with KK, I think would do wonders for his development. Not only that, Getzlaff would make a strong impact on the ice for us as well. So keep an eye on all this stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more rumors floating, here and there. There was the Tony DeAngelo stuff that really, we've heard it last season, but it really picked up when we drafted Logan Mailloux. People just assume that we would then get DeAngelo and bring in Virtanen and all these guys with controversy surrounding them, but that's just absurd. I have to say this yet again. The Montreal Canadiens are a top-class organization. You cannot take that away from them, and they will put Logan Mailloux on the right path. Now, I'll agree it was a tone-deaf pick, but Montreal will make sure this kid learns his lesson and does not make the same mistake again, and then likely become an advocate for this type of stuff. So Montreal's not out here looking to bring in guys with character issues after that's what they have preached so long. And I you know what? I know there's a lot of people still dogging Logan, but the way he is handling this controversy is showing maturity, in him already. He's accepted his crime in Sweden. He is in therapy. He has faced the media. He has apologized. He's shown remorse. That's about all you can ask for a 17-year-old. And I understand people didn't want to see him drafted in the first round. And, I can see that point of view, and I can even agree with it. But what's done is done. And the Canadiens are gonna make sure this kid is on the right path, and he's a good hockey talent, and he could have a good career in the NHL, whether it's with the Canadiens or not. And don't forget, there was plenty of teams lined up to draft him in the second round. Sneak it in after the first is over. I don't know. Would that have been better? You know, I don't think so. Montreal decided to, you know, be the big boys here and step up and take all that heat to draft the kid. Now, albeit whether or not Logan deserves it or not, I don't think the Habs are going to take this opportunity to have an impact on a young man's life, you know, for granted. So that's all I have to say about that. Tony DeAngelo is not coming to Montreal. Apparently he's going to Carolina. Virtanen definitely not coming to Montreal as well. But you know, there's still Dougie Hamilton out there, and I just don't see a fit. Honestly, just because of his, you know, personality type. I'd love to see it happen, though, because the guy's an absolute beast. But lots of names, and I'll be here to break them down for you once the signings happen. In depth, just like this one on Yoel Armia, who... What a great signing. What an absolutely solid signing. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments of the Yoel Armia signing and everything else surrounding the Habs ahead of free agency. Let me know if you've heard any rumors. Let me know if I missed anything. And of course, subscribe and like if you are enjoying this content. Cheers, guys. Big day tomorrow. Go Habs, go!